Hello. What's up, everybody? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. It is August 25th. It is Tuesday, August 25th. So glad you are here. Got some folks coming on to this stream. Some of you have already been there, which is awesome. You have been hanging out. Hello to Rachel in Cleveland. Randy, Long Beach, Delph, woke up earlier to join us today, he says. And we are also broadcasting on Facebook and Periscope. So if you are there, feel free to post a comment and I can see those too. So I can pull those in sometimes and we can see who all is watching. What's up, the Master Gaster? Always good to see you from Columbia, South Carolina. And of course, Corrine from Massachusetts, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Love and Treasure on Periscope. Love and Treasure, Marvin Joe, always like my loyal Periscope viewers. You guys are awesome. Jennifer from Visalia, California. Mark, Misha, all kinds of other folks. If it is your first time here, feel free to post a comment and I'll try to give a shout out to you. If not, I'm glad you're here. And if you've been here a lot or if it's your first time, my name is Chris Guillebeau. This is all about finding opportunity in a time of uncertainty. So for the past 12 years, I have been writing books and blog posts. Now I do a podcast, a few other things, all about self-reliance, all about thinking for yourself, the art of nonconformity, all about like, how can you create the life that you want for yourself? How can you be of service to others? How do you kind of break away from all the different expectations that people have for you so that you can actually find that thing that you really want? So I'm so fortunate to have a global community of people all over the world who are living that out in lots of different ways. And a lot of what I do is just share stories. So I share from my own experience, but also from lots of other people who are all, as I said, finding their way. And this year in particular is so weird, right? Because we're still in this time of uncertainty. It's different in different parts of the world, of course, but all of our lives have changed one way or another because of COVID-19. And for me, what I said in the very beginning of all this, which was like March or April or something, I think we started making this show in early April. I said, my hope is to come out of this time and be able to say that I use this time well. Like I'm not a frontline healthcare worker. I'm not saving the world in that way, but hopefully there's something I can do, and that's my encouragement for everybody else as well. It's like, what can you do during this time? How can you create something? How can you, be able to look back and say you use this time well? Anyway, lots of other folks coming in. I've got some cool stuff to show you today, by the way. I've got 2 different audio questions that came in. Hey, Christine. Hey, Rhonda from Stockton. Agency is sorely missing now, indeed. Malcolm, what's up? Oh, Rhonda says Stockton is in California. Yes. Fun fact, there's probably some other Stocktons too, but it's good that you clarified. Hey, what's up? Amira from Canada. Thank you for watching. Saw we had some folks from India as well. Oh, hey, check this out. Daniel is in Ghana. That's very cool. I used to live in Ghana. I was in Ghana for about 3 months in Tema and Accra. So thank you for watching all the way from over there. Very cool. Lots of other folks as well. I see somebody from Egypt, etc. If I don't respond to your comment, it's just because there's a lot of stuff going on. I always, at the end of each broadcast, go back and read through all the comments just because I like to know what people are talking about. If you have a question and I miss it, I sometimes use that to kind of inform what we do next and such. And of course, you could be watching the replay, which is cool as well. I try to keep most of this stuff evergreen. Whether you're watching live or the replay, it would be awesome. Big favor to me if you'd click the thumbs up button on YouTube. That just shows YouTube that real people are out there watching. And you may also want to subscribe to the channel, which you can do at the bottom, and then click the little bell to get notifications. That's particularly important if you haven't done so before, because I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I've been doing these podcasts, or not podcasts, I'm in the podcast mindset here. I've been doing these live streams every week for the past few months. We did 30 days in a row when I started. I'm going to take a little break for September, but I will be back. Okay, so it's usually every Tuesday at 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. But I'm going to take a break for September and I will come back. Okay, so if you're subscribed, you'll get notifications. You'll know when I'm back around and such. Question of the day coming up. Some websites I want to show you. We're going to talk about bravery and we're going to talk about time tracking, 2 different concepts, but both important. And in fact, let's jump into that actually. Let me see if there's something else I wanted to share. Did I have any important announcements? Let us see. Oh, I'm doing, so I've been doing these Zoom meetings every other Thursday. for the Third Way group. Whoops, I'm over there. There we go. And our next meeting is coming up on this Thursday, so 2 days from now. And the purpose of these meetings, it's kind of based on this book, The Money Tree. In the book, there's this group called The Third Way that consists of people who are all trying to start a little business without spending a lot of money, without going into debt, and by using the skill that they already have. And so the group is like a supportive, network where people can get feedback and such. And I'm now in the process of starting these local groups across North America and elsewhere. We have a little pilot project that's happening for 3 months. But I also have this online meeting that takes place every other week. And so you can get feedback about your idea. We actually pull up people's websites and offer some critique and such. So if you would like to join in for that, let's see if I have a slide for this somewhere? Hold on, we're going to go and look and see. What do I got here? Oh, that's how you can connect with me, which is cool. But I was trying to find a slide that shows how to sign up. Well, I can't find it at the moment, but I promise you it exists. What you can do, aonc.co/thirdway1. So it's aonco.co/thirdway1, and it's free. You just sign up there and we'll send you a little email about that. Okay, so let's see. What did I want to show you? Let's hop over here real quick. Time tracking. I've been using this new tool called Timeular. They're not a sponsor or anything. I've just been I bought this myself. And I really like it. I'll actually show you in the video in 1 second, but this is their website, timeular.com. They have this little tool and it's called a tracker. And then the tracker combines with an app, which will basically kind of keep track, thus time tracking of how you spend your time, what projects you work on, and so on. So the reason I thought this was pretty cool, let me come back here, is I've tried some different time tracking things before, and I really love the concept, but I haven't really stuck with it. And so the cool thing about this, I bought this, as mentioned. It's a little bit of a device, and it has all these different sides, and you can put different stickers on them. I just use these little circles, but they have more artistic ones. You can actually write on these different sides, and there's a dry erase process. And then whenever you're working on whatever activity or project you designate, you turn it over on your desk to that side, and it's connected via Bluetooth. And so it automatically tracks all your projects and your activities. And I just started doing this about 2 weeks ago, and it's been really fun. I like it. So check it out if you're interested in that. If not, of course, you can do a manual, version of that. You can do spreadsheets. My good friend Laura Vanderkam is the mastermind of this. She's got some free websites or free downloadable templates on her website, lauravanderkam.com, I believe. Do you keep track of your time? Do you do that? Let me know if you keep track of your time to know where it goes. I have one tip about that before we go on. I used to struggle with, when I tried to do the spreadsheet thing and keep up with everything, I kind of got off course. And what I've been doing with this new tool is I haven't been trying to track every single thing that I do. I've just been focused on my main work, my main projects, what am I trying to do, my creative work. And so this way I can see how many hours a day I'm actually spending on creative work. So I have an activity for book writing or book outlining. I'm outlining a book right now. And so at the end of the day, I can see, I spent an hour and a half on that. That's great. If I see that I spent 20 minutes, that's not so good. So I just kind of try to increase the amount of time I spend on my creative work. I don't worry about tracking this is my lunch, or, I took a break to look at some websites. I just try to track the important things. So let me just jump over to the comments, because there's a lot of people here saying all kinds of stuff, which is cool. We know. Let's see here. Scrolling. Yes, some people ask about that address. Sorry about that. It's aonc.co/thirdway1. Third is THIRD. I'm sure I'm going to find that slide as soon as we finish this broadcast, but I don't want to waste your time by looking for it. So let's see. The name of that time tracker is Timeular. So it's timeular.com, TIMEULAR.com. Thoughts on Rescue Time? I'm not familiar with Rescue Time, actually, so I don't have thoughts one way or another. Corrine says, seems like a bit too much like Big Brother to me. Well, for me, the time tracking it's just for me. I don't share it, publicly or anything. I mean, I'm sure, I guess technically the company has access to my stuff, but as mentioned, I'm just doing it in kind of like a limited basis. And for me, it's not about, I think that company is, they're trying to position it for companies, which is a little bit like intrusive, like see what how your employees are spending their time. But I work for myself, so I'm the only one I'm accountable to. Oh, Christine says she uses the app Fabulous and a paper list for the day. And she also takes pics. That's fun. That's great. Okay, so that was like a little bonus question of the day. Here is the real question of the day. Lots of people here. That's awesome. Great to see you guys. Thank you for joining in. Thanks for the thumbs up button as well. That's very cool. And also people on Facebook, you can do that. Periscope doesn't have a thumbs up, but I appreciate you nonetheless. So let's see. Real question of the day. I want to talk about bravery because I have a theory here, but I'm really curious to know your answers to this question. What is the bravest thing you've ever done? I can't believe we have never had this question in all the different questions of the day. I would really love to know what's the bravest or most courageous thing that you have ever done. And this could be anything, right? There's no limit on what this could be. So post your answer if you would like in the comments, if you're willing. You don't have to, of course. And I'm going to pick a winner. We're going to review a number of the answers. And I will pick one person and send them a copy of the book, The Money Tree. So I'll let you know who the winner is in a little bit. Feel free to post some comments. While you're doing that, I'm going to move on and show you a couple other things, and I will come back to it. Let's see here. What should we do next? A couple other websites. Yes. Actually, let me play an audio question for you. I have two of them today, if we can get to them. If not, I'll just do one, but I'm going to go ahead and start with one so we can kind of get the ball rolling. Which, no pun intended, because you'll hear this question. Here we go. Let's see. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is from Celeste. So let's hear from Celeste.
Hi, Chris. This is Celeste from Argentina. I've been listening to the show for a while now, and I love it. Our side hustle is Run and Roll, a brand my husband and I developed for people who practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as he does, and people who run, as we both do. We have our registered name, logo, original illustration, a web page we both worked in, and Facebook and Instagram accounts. We began by printing t-shirts, mugs, and hats here at home while we started looking for manufacturers who could produce our designs for rash guards and spats for training. It was long and hard due to the economic crisis and the pandemic, but finally the first items will arrive in a couple of weeks. We tried Facebook and Instagram ads, but they don't seem to reach the people we want to reach. Gus, my husband, can't travel around to train in academies and show our products as we had planned due to the current situation. My question is, how do you think we can make ourselves known? Stay safe, thanks, and greetings from the other end of the world.
Awesome. So hopefully you were able to hear that question. That was from Celeste in Argentina. So let's actually take a look at their website. So they're trying to market to this community of people interested in jujitsu and running, there. So let's hop over here. This is another website. This is actually, so before I get to that, strengthrunning.com, another website I wanted to show you. This is a story I'm working on for Side Hustle School. So this guy's website, in some ways it's a little bit old school. Like I think it's perhaps a bit busy because there's a lot of stuff going on here. And it's not that any of these elements are wrong. Like they're all important with like these like featured in all these different media, and you got some testimonials and such here. Lots of different articles and such. It could probably just be maybe tightened up a little bit, but I did like the top here. It's like very clear benefits. Want to run faster with fewer injuries. So if you are a runner, if you ever run, like that's a very attractive benefit. You're like, oh yes, I want to run faster with fewer injuries. So this guy has built out a podcast and like a whole series of coaching and training programs, lots of material. I think he's got a YouTube channel, all kinds of stuff. I actually hired him to do like a little I did one of these programs with him. and I enjoyed it. And so I asked him if he wants to be on the podcast. So that's coming up, but just to show that to you as well. And then here is run and roll okay. So this is more about that previous question. Run and roll okay. So much of it is in Spanish, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, some of their products are in English. Let's scroll up and look at the products. And I think, there we go. It's like different t-shirts and such. So my thought on this is, come back here for 1 second. My thought on this is, first of all, I'm not surprised that the Facebook and Instagram ads haven't been working for them. That's okay. I don't think it's terrible that Gus, her husband, isn't able to go to the in-person stuff right now. The training communities, like that would be good. That would be nice. But, ultimately, if you want to reach a lot of people, you're not going to do it, one by one at those kinds of things. So I think what has to happen here is something more than just selling t-shirts. It has to be some kind of identity or message or mission, and they're already on the right track with that. Like, let's go back and take a look. I think I can even, hopefully I'm not going to end this broadcast. Let's see what happens here. I didn't end the broadcast. That's great. I just appeared on the screen. Magic. So they're already doing a bit of that. I just think it has to become more. And so a good model, somebody that I've talked about a couple times before, Joel Runyon. So if you look at impossiblehq.com or gear.impossiblehq, he's also selling t-shirts and, various other stuff, but he's really built like a whole brand, a whole message, like an identity around this. And I think that's it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's a long-term thing. It's like this, if this is your long-term mission, you want to inspire people through clothing and a message, then it's something that you have to kind of work out over time. And so you make it, let's actually go out of the gear and just go back to Impossible HQ. You have to make it about more than just like the fashion statement. It has to become, as I said, a community, a message, and a mission. So this is a good model to kind of look at. If you want to go down that road, I always send people to take a look at Joel's site. Okay. And now let's go back. I'm curious about your answers. I see lots of comments, so I'm going to take a look. I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. What is the bravest thing you've ever done? All right. Let me scroll way back here. The bravest thing you've ever done. So many responses. Okay. I got responses from YouTube, Facebook, etc. Allison says bravery equals being afraid and doing it anyway. Agree. Also mentions she was afraid to perform on stage in theater and made herself do it. Was terrified. I did it anyway. I've used the skills I learned in theater in many areas of my life. Yay. Well done. That's great. I'm a big fan of the do it anyway thing. Don't pretend you are not afraid. Just be like, I'm afraid, but I'm still the path to getting over my fear is through my fear. It's not around it. It's not through pretending. Maureen birthed the baby. Okay. Legit. Lewis volunteering to be the MC at a function minutes after the original MC tripped and injured himself. That's great. Well done. That is scary. I wonder if it's the kind of thing that is would you be more scared if you had more time to prepare? Do you know what I mean? In some ways it's oh, this is happening right now. I don't have any time to prepare. But there's this adrenaline and there's this, if I just do it now, I'll get it over with. Whereas if you had, 4 hours or something, you might kind of stress yourself out. That's just kind of what I think for myself. Maybe I'm projecting something there. Oh, Sandy met her husband on eHarmony. Awesome. That had a good outcome. Husband of almost 10 years. Well done. Let's see here. Well, I want to acknowledge this comment here from Ginger. This is a big comment. It's going to fill up the screen, but I do want to acknowledge it. Oh, it actually kind of put it down in the corner. So Ginger said, going through IVF process repeatedly, but not having success. It's a hard and stressful process. All this while being in grad school and trying to start her side hustle. and you're still doing IVF now. Thank you for sharing that. That's very brave. Delph, what's up, man? Thanks again for getting up this morning. Moved to the U.S. from the Philippines on a tourist visa in 2001. February next year will mark 20 years of living here. That's great, man. Christine, the bravest thing I've ever done is stuck to my dream for my life and career over and over, ever since I was a teen, despite devastating setbacks. So Christine is amazing, you guys. By the way, I've known Christine for a long time, and she has had a lot of setbacks in her life, but has also managed to overcome a lot. So thank you for joining us again. How is the writing going? Let me know how your books are doing and everything else. Dean went to college and made the honor roll several semesters when my high school guidance counselor, I guess, told me college probably wasn't for me. So there is nothing for me as motivating as when someone tells me I can't do something. So I connect with that. It's almost like I'm really glad they said that, because, the way to get me to do this is like a, human behavior hack. But for people like Dean and myself, maybe somebody else out there, like if you ever want to manipulate us, you should just tell us like we can't do something. Like if you ever want us to actually do something, you tell us we can't do it. And then we're like, okay, I'll show you. That's great. I see lots of other. Okay, this is great. I want to pull this out here. Wonderful comment here from Such a Punk Pets. The bravest thing I've ever done is committing to emotional recovery. Facing past traumas and healing has been hard, but has made my life better in every way. Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. My answer would be something in that realm as well. You know what I think is really cool is not one person here, at least that I have seen, has said something like, the bravest thing I ever did was bungee jumping, or the bravest thing I ever did was, I don't know, skydiving or whatever. And I've noticed when you ask this question, I guess you all are really smart. Because when I ask this question other places, or just like with random people, sometimes they say, skydiving. And it's like, well, that's cool. Like it's brave for sure. But, that's just like one action. And the brave thing is kind of deciding to do it. When you actually do it, you don't have to do much, right? You're pushed out of the plane, And I think like if something like that is the bravest thing you've ever done, maybe you're not really looking at your life, seriously enough. Maybe you're not really thinking like, what is it about my life that I want to change? It's not just like doing something like that. There could be something, deeper than that. I love Graham's answer as well. Quit my job, started a software company, and then told my wife. We talked once about this concept of the dress rehearsal and the dress rehearsal versus opening night. It's not always good to tell your friends and sometimes your family like ahead of time about all your different ideas and such, because then they're going to think, oh, that person's a dreamer. They're not really doing anything. So if you just do something and then you're like, look what I did, then that can kind of obviate some of that problem. That's not the case for everybody, of course, but for some people. Yes, and Delph also, shout out to all the moms out there. Thank you for raising that. Look at this. Well, you guys are amazing. I should do the whole broadcast about this subject. Gwendolyn said, when I was 13, I started backpacking, learned about the Pacific Crest Trail. Everyone laughed, but in the 80s, I backpacked all 2,800 miles to be one of the first 20 women to do so. Several very dangerous moments. Over 30 years later, last summer, I climbed Kilimanjaro. Well done. Amazing, Gwendolyn. That's so great. I might read a couple more answers just because these are so inspiring to me, but I do want to pick a winner. Actually, I want to pick two winners. So Ginger earlier, who is talking about the IVF treatments while she's in grad school and starting a side hustle, and Gwendolyn as well, who hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, all of it by herself, and then climbed Kilimanjaro, 30 years later. So I'm going to pick two winners. And if you want to send a quick email to Jed at sidehustleschool.com, so Jed, Jedd, at sidehustleschool.com, he will send you a copy of the book. If you already have the book, that's awesome. Very cool. Then you can give this copy to somebody else. So thank you for those comments, and thank you everybody else as well. Very inspiring. Let us see here. What else did I want to mention? The other audio question, maybe we'll have a moment to get to it because it's pretty good. It's kind of funny. Just want to read a few more comments here because I don't want to miss anything important that you guys said. Brave or stupid, trying to have another baby, even though I've been told it could be dangerous. Keeping the faith. We'll keep the faith for you too. Thank you for sharing that. I'm seeing lots of answers for like bravest and dumbest. That's cool. Thank you all for sharing these answers. Oh, by the way, Rhonda, I'm an introvert who is shy. Me too. I don't like speaking out. I don't like speaking, especially publicly. And I have a YouTube channel as of May 2020. That's awesome. Let me know what your channel is. We can share it out. That's great. Okay. So this next question, I only listened to it one time earlier, and I was like, "This is really funny, but also interesting." So I'm not totally prepared for it, but we'll do it together. So let's see here. Next question.
Hi, Chris. This is Carrie from DC, and I've been loving the new format. And I'd love to hear your thoughts regarding my side hustle idea. I have an idea of starting a dating service for people who have already had COVID-19. It's not just a matter of antibodies and immunity, it's also that I imagine people who've been through the experience have something in common that other people don't understand. What do you think? And what should I do next? My biggest problem, at least I think it's my biggest problem, is how to convince enough people to sign up. Okay, thanks, Chris, and I look forward to hearing from you.
All right. The pandemic dating service. What do you guys think about that? My thought, okay, a couple thoughts. Like I said, I didn't really prepare for this answer. I'll have a more detailed one on the podcast at some point. I think so. I think she's right. Carrie's right about people who have had COVID-19, who've been through that experience, especially anybody who's had like a difficult case. They do have something in common with each other. Like they have this experience. Oh, you had it. Oh, I had it too. Right. And these kinds of commonalities kind of become like the shared experience. They're like a shared value of sorts. So I understand like this potential, connection. It's not just about like antibodies or being immune, which she already mentioned. I think, so there is something to it. And I actually did do some keyword research before to look and see like, there's actually a lot of people Googling like pandemic dating and various terms like that. So definitely a topic of interest to a lot of people. As for starting the dating service though, like to start a dating service of any kind, regardless of who you're trying to target or match up, that's pretty difficult because it's a problem of scale. That's like a startup kind of thing. And so I don't really talk much about startups. I don't talk about the Silicon Valley model. I never talk about raising money. Like everything that I do and like the community that I tend to work with, there are, people who are just regular people who aren't trying to actually get, millions of dollars of investment capital. So it's hard to scale a service like that because you need lots of users. Like the dating service or anything like that is going to be more effective, more popular, the more people who are in it, right? The more users. So I don't know about starting the dating service just like on your own randomly. What I wonder is, what else could you do with this idea of like providing some helpful resource for people? So since there are a lot of people Googling for this information, maybe there's a chance to create a resource site answering different questions, perhaps like an affiliate program with dating programs that you're sending people to OkCupid or eHarmony, as mentioned earlier, or whatever else it is. So that's my thought on that. But definitely creative idea for sure. I love creative ideas. On Side Hustle School, we're all about like featuring different stuff. Now that I'm thinking about it, we did feature a dating service for dog owners at one point. And I think if I'm recalling correctly, it started because this woman was in a relationship that she was reasonably happy with, but the guy didn't like dogs, basically, and she was a dog lover and likes this create a lot of conflict, in their relationship. And they eventually broke up, and she thought, I could have avoided this whole thing on the front end if I restricted my pool of dating to, people who I knew loved dogs, from the beginning. So perhaps a little bit of a tangent there, but okay. Before I wrap up, let me see if there's any other comments and questions. Seeing lots of really good stuff. I'm so grateful to be able to connect with you guys. I mean, this, for 12 years since I've been writing and sharing online, I always try to say at every event that I do, which used to be in-person events and hopefully will be again at some point. But now we're all here, and it's cool because we get to have people from Egypt and India and Ghana and, everywhere else watching. I always try to say that the best thing about this experience really is everybody else who is here and contributing in some way. And even if you're watching after, you're still part of it. It's still hopefully you can take some inspiration, if not from something that I'm saying, maybe from somebody else, who's sharing their experience. And so there are a lot of people who are watching now and later who have done brave things and have, tried to find a way to create something for themselves, whether it's financial security, which is kind of an overall theme that I work with, or just, something different, signing up for the program and meeting her husband, as was mentioned, or for some people, it's ending a relationship, and being brave to start something new or to kind of, be on your own. Anyway, I don't mean to go off on a total tangent again, but I'm just very grateful for everybody here who's part of this community. So thank you for that. Christine says she's got a goal of her completed new novel draft by Halloween. Great. Glad to hear it. Just reading some other comments. This is very cool. I need another way to keep up with comments because there's so many coming. Now it's fun. Very cool. So I started earlier by talking about time tracking. And then we ended up focusing on bravery, but I believe, let me see here. Han mentions as well, for dating service, 200,000 US patients is an extremely small population. Well, the problem is they're not concentrated. If they were in one area, and then, not all of them want to register for the service, et cetera. So I think we agree that it's a challenge. Oh, yes. So sorry again about the second Thursday Zoom. I'm going to end this broadcast and find this slide that I couldn't find earlier, but it's aonc.co/thirdway1. I might be able to, let me see if I can just hop over here. I'm looking at my other computer real quick. Because I think if you put links in the chat, YouTube automatically moderates it, but I think I can do it. So we'll see if that works. If not, send me a note or send Jed a note, jed@sidehustleschool.com, and we will get you hooked up. I'd love to have you on the Zoom call. It's all free. It's kind of like this, but it's 90 minutes and it's a little bit less free flowing in that we are focusing on everybody's issues and problems. And I was trying to move something on my screen and I was touching the wrong keyboard. And I was like, why is it not working? It's not working because I'm touching the wrong keyboard. There it goes. Trying to focus on people's websites, trying to get people to take next steps and next actions, to get closer to whatever it is that you're working towards. So yes, I'd love to have you in that. And I'll talk more on Thursday about our next plans for what we're going to do there. Okay, so daily challenge. Let's see. So this is actually related to time tracking. So whether you are into time tracking or not, which we were talking about when we began, my challenge to you is to try to increase the amount of time you spend on what's important to you. And that for me is why I've been using this little tool over the past couple of weeks, just because I want to be able to look back at the end of the day and say, okay, I spent 2 hours, on writing. I want to be able to say, whatever else that I'm working on that's important to me. Like right now it's on, I've got it set to YouTube, right? So that's great. I'll be able to say, oh, I spent this time, connecting with all of you. I had some preparation that I did earlier, so that's part of it as well. And it gives you a little annual, gives you a weekly report as well. So that's cool. But whether you use that tool or some other process or no time tracking process at all, I encourage you and challenge you to try to increase the amount of time that you spend on something that is important to you. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining. So I'm not going to be here next week, but I will be back. I'm thinking it's just going to be September that I focus on some other stuff, and I might remix this format or something, but I really enjoy doing it. So if you are subscribed and click that bell on YouTube, is there a bell? Hopefully there's a bell, get notifications, but as long as you subscribe, you'll get to know. And I'll probably post something on my blog as well when I'm doing it again, on my newsletter. So, if you hang around, we will meet again. I look forward to it. And as I've been saying since I started, the pandemic is a weird time. 2020 is the weirdest year in history. We also have an election coming up. There's a lot of stress over that, stress and anxiety. And just remember that you can't control everything. You can't control most things, but there is something within your element of control that you have influence over, whether it's 1% of everything you encounter or 2% or whatever. Like, do whatever you can to hold on to that 1% and maybe even increase that proportion, or at least try to use that time well. That's what I'm trying to do myself. We're all on a journey. So I am grateful for you. Thank you for joining in. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already. That's awesome. But mostly have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. All right, everybody, take care.